These are things that Blair White has been screaming about since like 2016. Ariel Scarcella, Marcus Debienson, Misha Petrov, Rose of Dawn, Sinead Watson, Upper Hand Mars, Sarah Higdon, and many, many others have been talking about for years. And all Oli London needs to do is watch maybe 5 of their videos each and just say the exact same things they're saying. And oh my goodness, he sounds like he's brave. He sounds like he's speaking for the truth. I'm not done with you yet. I kind of like perspectives to give, both as a Christian transgender talking points. October 18th, 2022 was the first time that Oli London came out as a detransitioner, an MTFTM detransitioner. Now, who is Oli London? Oli London is a troll who began getting attention in 2018 when he appeared on Hooked on the Look for undergoing dozens of surgeries to look more Korean.
I'm not actually changing my race, cultural appreciation, not cultural appropriation.
This is the place.
Beautiful,
this is where they did Gangnam Style.
Oli, born in 1990, visited Korea for the first time in 2013, where he,
a young, rich, white British boy,
fell in love with Korean culture and Korean aesthetics and began getting surgeries to appear more phenotypically Korean himself. After a few years, he not only tried to look more Korean, but tried to look more and more like
Park Jimin.
One of the singers in BTS. Is it Jimin? I think it's Jimin. Jimin. Not only was he attracted to Jimin, but he seemed to have some autoeroticism toward himself, where he himself wanted to look like Jimin. He began dyeing his hair and cutting his hair the exact same way Jimin did. As if that wasn't creepy enough, he started getting attention on social media for carrying around a cardboard cutout of Jimin and insisting it was his boyfriend, and then getting married to it in a wedding emceed by an Elvis impersonator.
And there's a lot of people online, judging our wedding and stuff, and I actually think that's very cardboard-phobic.
2021 was when I first learned about him, when he came out as transracial and non-binary. That's something kind of ridiculous to me. The majority of the unbiased internet began using they/them pronouns for Oli London. There are 2 rules about dealing with trolls. Number 1, do not give the troll attention. Number 2, don't believe the troll. This is actually pretty similar to Trisha Paytas. I think back in like 2018 or 2019, Trisha came out as a trans man and then was met with so much backlash that she backed out of it. But then in like 2021, she came out as non-binary, and I saw a bunch of YouTube videos talking about her life refer to her with they/them pronouns. Trisha is a troll. She's faking, and you don't have to respect her pronouns. But okay, whatever. Now in 2022, Oli London had lost most of his attention on social media, and so he began appropriating other Asian cultures and other non-Western cultures on TikTok, and also proceeded to harass multiple Asian users in an attempt to make them his girlfriend or boyfriend. Since most people weren't paying attention to Oli London around this time, nobody really noticed when he sort of came out as Rosie from Blackheart. Yeah, so basically he broke up with his cardboard cutout of Jimin. I'm positive he had to have gone through at least 20 of those things over the years. So in 2022, he and his cardboard husband break up. Oli decides he's falling in love with Rosie from Blackheart or something like that. Nobody really paid attention to him because Oli London was done in 2022. But recently, he came out as a detransitioner. Now, one of the main reasons I know that he was completely insincere about being a trans woman, and that he probably doesn't even take trans people seriously anyways, is he went back and forth between calling himself a trans woman and then calling himself a gender-fluid trans woman. Now, you've heard of non-binary trans? Well, have you ever heard of gender-fluid trans? Suggesting that his gender went back and forth from female to non-binary to man. But again, he wasn't even taking his own transition seriously, and I don't even think he was on hormones. He never ever mentions he was on hormones. All he mentions is that he underwent more facial surgeries and wore female clothing and hair extensions.
Like, literally all he was doing was just being a full-time drag queen.
But now he's come out as a detransitioner, and depending on who's interviewing him, he'll mention that he was either a trans woman or a gender fluid trans woman.
Society is saying, oh, it's normal to transition and stuff. I kind of fell for that, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm meant to be a woman.
I started changing. I started dressing as a Korean woman.
And as you guys know, I am gender fluid.
Now, not only has Oli detransitioned, but he's also converted to the right wing. He has proclaimed himself to be a Christian, supposedly gotten baptized. Now, Oli has come out making statements that he has found Jesus now and he's never been happier, and he believes Jesus took away his sins and he has gotten baptized and yada yada yada. If that is the truth, then I'm happy for him, and I think he has gone down the best path he possibly could. However, I am having a very hard time trusting him. There's no character change. When you become a Christian and Jesus enters your life, he completely takes over you and you become a different person. Sure, you might have a similar personality, but the same antics you used to do before you were saved are no longer going to be done. And Oli is continuing to do crazy antics on the internet. Furthermore, on the multiple interviews you can see on his channel, he has apologized for identifying as a different gender and for his antics in the past, and in the very next 2 days, he uploads another culturally appropriative Korean music video.
Also, in the most recent trigonometry episode, he refuses to concede that his identifying as a different ethnicity was wrong.
His expression of Christianity is also pretty flawed. He says some of the most basic things, such as,
Jesus saved me from my sins and he wants to be baptized.
but then he'll say things like, be true to yourself.
His understanding of God seems to go as far as saying that Jesus was all-loving, which is true, but that's not even scratching the surface of God's character. It's pretty hard to see what it's like for a social media influencer to become a Christian, but a really good example of this is Gothix. Her transformation after she accepted Jesus as her savior and her salvation story is very authentic, and I think she's a really good example. You should check her out. Also, I wonder if he was expecting to spark more outrage by coming out as a detransitioner, and was pleasantly surprised when he was actually embraced for it.
So he comes out as a detransitioner and almost immediately gets put on Tucker Carlson.
I was never unhappy with how I looked, so I was always struggling with my looks.
Now, I don't really watch Tucker Carlson. It's kind of frustrating how seriously Tucker Carlson is taking Oli London. In the Tucker Carlson interview, it's very interesting because all that's talked about is the 6 months that Oli identified as transgender. No mention of him identifying as trans-Korean, and no mention of him identifying as non-binary a year before he came out as transgender, or the fact that he tried to impersonate Jimin for several years of his life. I saw a video by a British YouTuber who I'm going to assume is a bit more progressive do a very good breakdown of everything wrong with the Tucker Carlson interview. The big issue with this YouTuber, though, is that he defends Oli a little bit too much and is like,
Tucker Carlson doesn't care about you, he just wants to use you for his bigoted right-wing views.
They do not like you, and they do not want you on their side. They just use you to further their agenda of anti-LGBT hate.
Oli doesn't care if Tucker Carlson cares about him or not. Oli just wants attention. Second of all, this particular YouTuber says that Oli is now a TERF,
Which is, honestly kind of dumb on the YouTuber's part.
because the literal definition of a TERF is trans exclusionary radical feminist. And since Oli is in support of bringing back the alpha male and identifies as a hardcore conservative, he is by definition not a radical feminist. So calling him a TERF is completely inaccurate. Also, the things Oli says in this interview with Tucker Carlson are just kind of insane. So it goes from saying that it's a problem for schools to tell boys that they can be girls, and then that boys can wear dresses, and then that boys can use gender-neutral restrooms, which hold on a minute. Why can't boys wear dresses? I know I'm a Christian, and I believe cross-dressing is wrong, but if we normalize boys and men being allowed to wear dresses, then it's technically not cross-dressing anymore, so why can boys not wear dresses?
Another thing,
A gender-neutral restroom, by definition, allows either girls or boys. So what is wrong with a boy using a restroom that includes him? Like, it's a problem if a boy is going to a girl's bathroom or a man is going into a woman's bathroom, and it's a problem if all the women's restrooms are being turned into gender-neutral restrooms. But what's wrong with a boy using a gender-neutral restroom? On Oli London's YouTube channel, there's another interview with a lady this time. You a lady. She's a lady. Whoa, whoa. Then in an EWTN interview, he talks about how he's okay with some people identifying as trans, but the current outbreak we have is a big deal, and it used to take years and years for trans people to get all the psychological help they needed. Now, trolling aside, I would say that I agree with most of the things he is saying now. But the thing is, I don't think he believes them himself. I don't think he believes anything. See, the things that he's saying about kids transitioning and not adequate medical clearance and how women and children are in danger, these are things that Blair White has been screaming about since like 2016. Ariel Scarcella, Marcus DeBiensen, Misha Petrov, Rosa Dawn, Sinead Watson, Upper Hand Mars, Sarah Higdon, and many others have been talking about for years. And all Oli London needs to do is watch maybe 5 of their videos each and just say the exact same things they're saying. And oh my goodness, he sounds like he's brave. He sounds like he's speaking for the truth. I think there's certain detriment to Oli making his current trolling character somebody who defends trans kids and detransitioners. Because trolling is fundamentally ironic. Trolls don't actually believe what they are saying. Detransitioning and children being groomed at school are extremely serious issues that need to be taken with the utmost gravity. I agree with the words that are coming out of Oli London's mouth, but I don't want him on my side. I don't want to hail him as an ally. He's not an ally. He doesn't speak for me. Troll is a person who posts or makes inflammatory, insincere, digressive, extraneous, or off-topic messages online specifically for attention. There's no difference between positive or negative attention. Trolls just want attention. Now, when I made my Dylan Mulvaney video, I noticed a lot of people in the comment section claim that Dylan Mulvaney is a troll, and I don't think this is the case. There is a difference between positive and negative attention to Dylan, and positive attention makes Dylan happy, and negative attention makes Dylan cry and contemplate doing terrible things. I think Dylan is completely genuine in what Dylan is embarking on. Dylan looks like a man, and
Where have you been the last 5 or 6 years?
a lot of the trans people we see now, they looked just as unpassing as Dylan from the very beginning. So it's been months since Oli has come out as a detransitioner, but I had no intention of making this video because
I personally don't really care.
But then Isaac Butterfield made a video about Oli London. Isaac Butterfield's video was just very poorly researched and just poorly understood. He opens the video with saying that Oli London can do whatever he wants.
But we still gonna laugh at you, mate.
Alright, if it makes you happy, cool, but everyone's gonna make fun of you.
That's the point. Oli London does not care if you care about him.
Well, I don't know where he's got the money from, but he has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on surgeries.
I think personally the first reason, and I'm literally just speculating, I have no idea. I'm assuming the first reason is that he was a rich white boy who could afford to go to Korea and then afford to get plastic surgery.
People noticed he was very weird.
And started bringing him on to shows and interviews, and he got hundreds of thousands of dollars from this. Isaac, people like you are funding Oli's surgeries.
But it is interesting to watch the people who would have supported Oli, if it wasn't with the Korean stuff, would have supported him to go non-binary or trans. And then what's really strange is how much they hate him now that he's going back.
Mate, nobody is dropping Oli for being a detransitioner. Nobody supported Oli in the first place. Again, don't believe everything Oli says. He is unreliable even about his own narrative. Also in the same video we see a tweet from Oli saying Oli London 2024, which you can't become president if you were not born in the United States. It's just an example of what a troll Oli is, and he's just spouting the craziest things. Now, I recognize that Isaac Butterfield is a comedian. He's mostly there to poke fun at everything, which kind of means that at some point he's going to follow the Medicare route. If everything around you is a joke, then you yourself are also a joke. And nothing helps YouTube comedians more than trolls. It's a symbiotic relationship. Some people might question Oli's validity as a troll because of how much effort he put into looking Korean.
I've had 18 surgeries in total for the last 8 years. Nobody would do that to themselves for attention.
The most severe trolls prioritize attention over everything, including their own health. A perfect example of this is Nikocado Avocado. Even though Nick truly has put on the weight, Nick follows a prototype of a troll. He makes inflammatory, insincere, digressive, extraneous, and off-topic messages online, and he is here for the positive and negative attention alike. Now, anybody who has invested an iota of a brain cell in Nikocado Avocado realizes that beyond just being a troll, there's clearly something wrong with him mentally, psychologically, and I agree. I think that for many trolls to go so far and to permanently alter their bodies for their character, there is something deeper going on. Even though I have no respect for trolls, I certainly have sympathy for trolls who use their trolling character to cover up for trauma in their lives. There's money to be made from cosmetic surgery. That's why Hooked on the Look and truly exist, for these crazy people's lives to be on display, and so that their horrible self-afflicting behavior can be glorified and enabled. Speaking of Oli London, there's another British Oli who is pretty committed to, honestly, what I think is a public trolling character. He doesn't care about positive or negative attention either. He just cares about attention. And the main reason I have not done a video on this person,
Although I absolutely could.
is I don't think this person is worth time on my channel giving him either positive or negative attention. Oli London is clearly a troll that nobody should be taken seriously. Within the past, 5 years, he has made such ridiculous statements, such as congratulating Ariana Grande for coming out as transracial when she got an eye lift surgery. Calling out Harry Styles as a horrible representation of men. Harry Styles, out of all the people you could have chosen, criticizing Islam back when everybody else was criticizing Islam. The point of this video, which is somewhat hypocritical since I stooped to make a video about Oli London, is to stop feeding the troll.